You know, they say that you become what you are from your experiences. The people's behavior around you shapes your thinking and thus your own behavior. You may also know that we have often been thought to be kind to those who are not kind to us. These are morals in their words. Those very same people who laid down these rules for us to follow. You know, such experiences have also shaped me. And I have a quite gruesome one. My name is Itami, and centuries ago, in a place known as Nippon, or as many of you may know it as Japan, I was married off to a very reputable man. I was, in the words of the people around me, a beautiful girl that any man would be fortunate enough to marry. I was only 19 years, and yes, I remember it correctly because after just 2 years at the age of 21, I met my end. You see, my Shujin lived up to his reputation of a very disciplined man. There were some rules laid down by him that had to be followed by me. For example, I needed to wake up before sunrise, make sure I had my bath, and then clean the whole house and was just ready in time with his breakfast. And yet I was scared that any mistake done by me could land me a beating. It was a relief, though, that he wasn't at home much. He was gone on his missions for months, and I was happy for the work he did. His months-long disappearance was a sign of relief for me, but also brought loneliness and quietness to the house. He had no family besides me. His parents passed away when he was 11 years old, and his 4 brothers lived away. Never cared to reach out to him. Neither did he care to know how his brothers were doing. Initially, I busied myself with housework, but how much could be done? Then I found something else to do, something that was interesting and killed time very quickly. It was Akira, and Genji, and Kazuya, or maybe Makoto. Definitely Tasuke. They were all very young and close to my age, unlike my Shujin, who was 10 years older than me at the time of our marriage. I was lost in the bliss of the pleasure I received. Those time well spent, and the varieties of the happiness I received. What did I have to do? Nothing at all. I knew my beauty was enough for these men to cheat on their wives and fiancés. All I had to do was glance at them, and they'd lose their senses at the pretty sight of me. My long black hair that flowed right below my knees, my flawless skin, and the face as beautiful as a tenchi, and a gifted bosom that made the other women envy me even more. This bliss did not last a lifetime for me. One afternoon while I was with Futoshi, or might be Satoshi, my Shujin stormed into my room. His eyes reddened with anger and hate, his mouth quivering. I don't know how he got there. He was on a mission which would last another 2 months. Or so he told me. My heart raced at seeing him unexpectedly. Did someone snitch on me? My body shook. His towering figure. I wanted to mutter an apology to him. I could not think of any reason. Should I pin it all on Atushi? Maybe yes. That would be the right thing to do. But just as I opened my mouth, an inaudible gibberish escaped. I could not form those words into sentences. My mind was numb. Shujin did not wait for another moment. He raised his hand and brought it down across my face, screaming abuses at me. I fell across the bed. Holding my left cheek, it was as if a lighting had struck me. In the corner I saw Hideshi, who had taken cover like a coward. Shujin grabbed me by my hair and dragged me to the courtyard. My legs scrapped the rough grounds. I screamed my apologies at him, holding my hair so that it hurt less. Our screams, his of rage and mine of agony, brought out our neighbors. He dragged me right across the courtyard and threw me at the gates outside, with no words or explanations to give. He removed his sword from its scabbard. He grabbed my arm, looked at me with hatred, and with the sharp edge of the sword, sliced it right across my lip to my left cheek. It hurt. It hurt so bad. It was unlike any pain I had felt. Tears rolled down my eyes, the tears of pain and regret. I apologized again and again, pleaded with him. That man was nothing but a demon himself. He looked at me, called me by the term of some woman he once met at the corner of a street late at night, drew his sword for the second time and slashed it across my right cheek, imitating the cut on my left one, making me permanently grin. He threw me on the ground and shouted out to the neighbors what the consequences a cheating woman like me should be. I looked up at my neighbors. I was always kind to them. I looked up and saw every face. Maybe someone would stand up for me. Someone would come and help me. But no one did. There was hate and disgust in their eyes. A few women sniggered at me, and while they did that, they hid behind the crowd. One last glance at the face of my shujin, and I saw a nasty snarl on his face, as if he had achieved something great in his life. The agony was unbearable, and the blood lost was immense. I felt my shujin kick me in my back before I lost consciousness. I don't know how many hours had passed, or was it days. I woke up in middle of the night, deep in agony, my mouth burned with pain. I tasted my own blood. I tried asking for help and was shocked at the sound I made. A pathetic and monstrous sound. I had a look around me. I recognized this waste yard. It was just outside my village. The villagers used this ground to dispose their wastes. A rage burned inside me. This treacherous man. He did not spare me a last rite. And yes, I know I am. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I am a corpse without a soul and emotions and kinness. I know I wasn't alive. I don't know how, but I knew it. I stood up and walked through the dark lanes of the village, everyone sound asleep like my agony and pain and suffering did not matter to them. I looked down at my kimono. There was blood all over it. My mouth formed a gape that would make me grin permanently. What a taunt it was to me. I was suffering and my face, it just grinned. I wanted to see that bastard. I did not fear him anymore. The fear, like me, was dead. On the way to my former house, I stopped in between, a store for home supplies. Yes, I slammed the door open and searched for the sharpest knife. Yes, that's it. It looked the sharpest of them all. I would take my time slicing into him. As I reached my house, I saw no one was there. The house was locked, that demon not in. Oh, I so wanted to slice him apart like he did to me. And not from the face only, but from one thigh to another, with the knife I held in my hand. I screamed in rage like a wailing woman. Where did this swine go? Was he out on another mission? Was he at someone else's home? No, I will find him and cut him to pieces. I would find him anywhere he ran off to. As my anger and hatred was in its full rage, I heard someone whimper, and as I turned to the corner from the sound came, I saw him. Akira. One of the men who I had been with. One of the gentlemen. I know he must have not been around when that demon attacked me. He would have rescued me. But wait. I did see his wife snigger at me. Was it him behind whom she hid? I don't know. My anger calmed down at the sight of him. My heart swelled with grief. I know he would not be affected by the grotesque form I was in. He told me once, when we lay together one winter afternoon, it was more than just my body. It was my soul that had attracted me to him. I wanted him to say it just once more, and assure me I wasn't grotesque. But he did not seem to say anything. So I asked him myself, "Am I beautiful?" He screamed as he heard the sound that escaped my mouth. my gaping and bloody mouth. He ran, calling me a monster, a vile woman, a yokai. I could not control the hate and rage that followed his reaction. I ran across to him at a speed that I didn't knew I had possessed. Well, if he called me a monster, and hated my face, I would match his to mine. After all, it was not just me who corrupted the society. Didn't he as well? He was equally responsible, and he would equally bear the consequences. As he screamed at my sudden proximity, I rose my hand high in the air and sliced the knife across his face. You see, centuries pass on by and things change. Rules and rituals that are not required are long extinct. The customs change with time, and so does the lifestyle of humans. But the thing that does not change over time is hatred, so deeply buried in my heart. That dog, whom I once called my Shujin, could not be found anywhere. He did not return to his house, and as time passed, I assumed he was dead, and I wished it was in agony. I still haunt the streets of Nippon, or what most of you call Japan. I ask men and women, am I beautiful? But now I cover my mouth with a mask. Oh, when I reveal it to those poor little people. My hate carries on. And now they call me Kuchisake Onna. There is something that binds me here. I cannot understand what it is. It's like no matter how long I travel, I am not able to leave this country. But you know what, someday I would love to ask people from all the other countries around, am I beautiful?